Let me know how that is. Hopefully that's a bit better. Thank you for letting me know. I had to tune it down earlier in the week for more reasons. There we go. Beautiful. And we'll get started real soon. What's up, Fam Bam? What's up, guys? We're gonna go live here as we gotta talk, especially about what has been going on. I know plenty of you have a lot of questions about the pricing, especially when it comes to NVIDIA's new pricing, about 20 to 30% up. You're talking about AMD's new pricing, where it's roughly about 10 to 15% up. Has it truly taken effect? Hopefully you got to see today's video based on it and some indications, which are pretty much a good sign, not really a great sign, but a good indication that you can certainly expect that price adjustments are going to happen. Usually the first ones that typically adjust pricing is going to be ASUS. Yeah, how much will the 5080 Super cost? That is a loaded question, and I'll tell you why. Because if the price continues to go up the way it is, currently I have the idea of an RTX 5080 Super, if it does end up releasing, especially if it has 24 gigabytes of G7, which is predicted, more than likely you're going to look at a price tag as high as roughly about $2,000, or even more, because now we're pushing at the 5080 level. Realistically, it's probably going to be closer to more like the $2,300 level. It can push up even as high as $2,500 depending on how it looks this holiday. Because I gotta say, for everybody out there, it certainly does look scary, especially for anyone that is trying to get a GPU as a gift. I mean, it's August already. The holiday season is pretty close to us. We have a lot of exciting releases that is happening. I mean, we just recently had the Steam machine that was released. Pretty soon the Steam frame will eventually be released, and once that ends up happening, we're going to get a good indication, because even the Snapdragon processors are taking a big hit when it comes to their price raises. Sure, it doesn't look too bad. Originally, at first, when you see the pricing for these Snapdragon processors, you're thinking, it's a small ARM chip. How much is it going to truly cost? I mean, the price increase is about 10 to 15% more, so does it truly take effect when it comes to something like the Steam frame or any other device that contains a ARM processor? Unfortunately, it does take quite the hit, more than anyone would like. Sure, it might go up like $20 or $30. It might not seem truly that bad, but in reality, when it comes to the actual supply, it ends up being a lot more, because they have to be able to supply the demand. So Steven says, I have thought about buying the 9060 XT while I can before it hits $700. Honestly, not a bad idea. There's a lot of people hinting on ideas of whether to go and sell their RTX 5070 Ti's, the RTX 5080s. Their RX 9070 XTs are even going up in price. The common price you can certainly find, even for the RX 9070 XT, is going to be the $700 range. So if you are in the market for a RX 9070 XT or a newer upgraded GPU, I highly suggest looking at Micro Center while you can, or take advantage of some of the deals that Amazon and Newegg even does feature for the RX 9070 XT that's under $700. So what's up, Nellis? Pixel says MSRP 1700, real world cost. Exactly. So I'm glad you brought that up, because when they speak about pricing, I'm basing it off Founders Edition. As we all know, NVIDIA always has a Founders Edition, which is going to be pretty much the RTX 5080 Super if they choose to release it. Now, there's also rumors hinting that we may not even truly see the Steam frame release as soon as we would like, because again, the price raises. And will this pretty much cause a domino effect? Because again, the NVIDIA doesn't really want to cost or really charge the consumers this much money. It's just what is in demand, especially from the AI companies. What's up, Bob? I was almost tempted to buy an Intel Pentium G6400 for $50 on Woot. I gotta say, Woot is amazing. I've been hearing some badass deals on there. So if you need fans, you need motherboards, they're also another great source to look. And now it says, I saw the one single ProArt 5090 in local retail. Very tempted to get it because I already have the rest of ProArt components. Except the GPU is 6,200 Canadian dollars. I think it's decent, cheaper than the Matrix. It is certainly cheaper than the Matrix. If you can get it for the better deal. I mean, currently in the US, it's priced at around roughly about $4,500. So it is certainly quite a bit cheaper even than the Astro itself. Not a bad card, an excellent card. You can game on it if you truly wanted to. But again, anybody thinking of just getting RTX 5090 strictly on gaming, I gotta say, try looking at the RTX 5080 or even the RX 9070 XT. It's certainly the better deal. So Steven says MSRP is $350 on a 9060 XT, 16 gigabytes. And I am relatively good on GPUs because of deficits. I feel like I just don't want to buy or just have to overpay later. I agree with you. I know Hidden Bull's on the same page as us for everyone that does have a PC building store. So I can certainly say that it doesn't hurt to have extra supply, but the problem is demand. It just seems that the demand is becoming less. I mean, it's so low. I mean, ridiculously low that people are not willing to take a look at even the pricing. I haven't been even hit on different offers. I've been offered trades. That's about it. But that just shows you how bad the economical side of when it comes to PC hardware. So I did something I have never done before due to difficult selling products. I sold my own first rent to own PC. Oh, wow. That's pretty insane. 6 months, same as cash. That's pretty. How do you feel about that, Hidden? Honestly, it's not a bad idea. It's getting to the point where it almost seems like renting out a system would be more beneficiary. But again, some people don't like it. They want to own their product. So I am certainly a bit mixed on it. And I will certainly send out a poll for everyone's opinion because I'm really curious what the public certainly thinks of this. So Pixel King says the 9800 X3D or the 9850 X3D will be my CPU for sure. Nothing more or nothing less. What's my opinion on Microsoft? I gotta say, they pretty much want to they want to pretty much tell everybody on what to do with their specifications, or I get you, Hidden. I would be worried too. Because it's like you almost need like some sort of, what's the right word for it? You need some sort of collateral for it. Igor, what's going on? But to answer the question about Microsoft, I feel that they do what they want. I'm not a large fan of Microsoft, but of course we have to use Microsoft when it comes to most PC games. It is still a necessity as of now. Preferably, I think Linux is certainly evolving and certainly is getting better. Hopefully you guys got to check out that poll that I put on X about how Linux is up to 4% now on Steam users, which is incredible. Before, it's never hit that high of 4%. It's an excellent number for it. As you see, Microsoft Windows users actually slowly dropping off slightly. Not by much, not even truly a percent, but you see more users going to even Windows 7. So, and now it says, I only need a GPU for AI rendering. For gaming, I would not buy anything faster. See, and now this will tell you. I'm telling you, he's a LLM type of guy, and he'll tell you what you truly need when you game. Even for 1440p or when you go 4K, you honestly don't need much. So, plus the gaming industry is crashing. There will be likely fewer games to play for gamers. So Bob says, I like my 9060 XT 16 gigabytes for the living room. Can do F4K with FSR. You hear that, fan man? 4K. And he bought it for only probably $350, $400. Of course, there are higher end models of 9060 XTs that you certainly can get. But it is certainly one of the most capable cards out there that you can get for your PC. So Steve says, so I built a computer on a nonprofit company, and now they want a dual monitor and need the graphics card. Maybe, I should start adding effects on this live show, because I do have to say, this would be perfect effect for the nice little drum, like the nice little drum snare, which I do want to say the wonderful RX 9050 might be the one that you're looking for. No, I'm just kidding. But it makes sense. The demand when it comes for PCs, especially if you're using it on a dual monitor, you're obviously going to need a decent video card. Obviously, they're probably not rendering or doing anything too crazy. I'm assuming they're just using it for some sort of productivity work. If that's the case, you don't need much. And if you're doing it based off of something like this, you could easily get something like as low as a regular 9060. The 9050, I'm not kidding. The 9050 could do this. So Emmanuel says, what do you think of every Microsoft product is good or bad? Talking about what's happening right now. Please specify, Emmanuel, because there's a lot of things happening. The most recent thing I can say, when Microsoft shined the lights, good morning, Z. I mean, not good morning. You see how thrown off I am? I already want it to be the weekend. But anyway, Z-Man, I gotta say good evening. And to add to what Emmanuel is talking about, specifically what I've heard from Microsoft recently, and if you guys also have heard as well when it comes to the OS. When it comes to Windows 11, most of you do know the requirements that you do need. It's based off of a 32 gigabyte requirement, especially if you are using Windows 11 Professional. If that's the case, you need 32 gigabytes, you need TPM 2.0, and you also have some other various requirements, such as the storage space, for it to just be enough for the OS to fit in, and of course, let's see, a decent processor. Nothing crazy. Windows 11 is not super demanding when it comes to it, even though it's definitely more demanding than I've seen from Windows 10. But anyway, the point is, they changed their tone when it came to the requirements. In fact, it is no longer 32 gigabytes, and now it is 8 gigabytes. That is a big jump down, I gotta say, especially for when it comes to the Microsoft side. So, Bob says, I don't believe the gaming industry will die entirely. Indie games are not trying to break budget, and sale records will die. I believe so. In fact, I've been so tempted to do upcoming streams, in fact, with you guys, that maybe we'll do it maybe on a probably Thursday or Friday. Instead, I'm going to do some Bethesda streams, such as New Vegas. I think that would be a fun stream, especially it's a classic game, and it's a wonderful feature that you can have on PC, especially on a game such as New Vegas. As we all know, that game is probably roughly about, I gotta say, maybe about 20 years old at least now. Maybe even a bit older. But I gotta say, it still runs wonderfully well on Microsoft Windows, and you don't even have to switch your system in order to play it. It plays well. You just have to throw the mods and the texture mods, and it works great. So, Mojang has updated the requirements of the RTX 2060 Ryzen 5 5500, 16 gigabytes of RAM. In fact, that's even better than the specifications that Microsoft wants to share with everybody in order to install Windows 11. Now, that just shows you how truly ridiculous that is. So, but I already have a 5700 XT that can go in it. So if that's the case, I would say, don't worry too much about the processor side. If you have what you have, the most important item to have, especially when it comes to gaming, is going to be the GPU. So Emmanuel says, like Windows, Microsoft has been taken WS. Oh, okay. So I was always the Radeon guy. I support people that do smart choices. Getting 16 gigabyte GPUs for almost 40% cheaper price. Yes, thank you, Igor. Preach this, because everybody that is getting a card, I just want to shine some light, because we're going to go to WCCF real quick. I'm going to throw up the wonderful poll question, because I do want to talk a little bit more on the whole, instead of actually purchasing a PC, how do you feel about the evolution of, or could you truly call it evolution when it comes to renting, say, a PC or some sort of console? What if it gets so expensive to the point that is one of your options to have? It's almost like Blockbuster. It's no different when they used to rent out game systems. If you guys do remember this, especially for all the OGs, probably certainly remember it. You could rent out a system for a week, but it would cost, it was a hefty cost, but you're still renting it. It's not really a new profound idea, but because of the cost, I mean, it makes perfect sense. So I'm going to throw up a poll real quick, guys, so I can share with you, because I'm certainly curious about the idea, what you feel about it, especially when it comes to renting a console, renting a PC, either one. If either item is going to be expensive, if you had the choice, maybe it's a fair price. Maybe it's roughly maybe $50 a month, no more than your typical network cost. Just say. Let's go ahead and throw this poll out, and I will say, would you mind? Would you mind? Now, in order for you to vote, you just simply put 1 or 2 to answer. So, would you mind renting? I'll put it in caps lock for you guys too. Renting a PC or console. Or I should say next gen console. Because realistically, it's going to be very expensive. Whether you like it or not. And we all know this. It's the unfortunate truth. So you can feel free to put the vote in. So you just have to put 1 or 2. You let me know what you feel. Do you feel that renting a console is okay? Or renting a PC is okay? Especially in today's economy. So, and now it says GTA 6 will last everyone 10 more years. Well, you know how old we're going to be when GTA 7 finally drops. I mean, that's the kind of game that's definitely going to go into maybe our grandchildren, to our great-grandchildren. So, like, do you think you can copy the marijuana? Oh. Hard to say. I know what you're thinking of, but there are designs. Are you thinking like towards like the AI chips? Are you thinking towards that side? Because they have OpenAI where they have their jalapeno chip. I'm going to look a little bit more into that, because I got to see exactly the topic that you're talking about. Because the jalapeno chips are supposed to be developed by OpenAI themselves, to where they can eliminate pretty much like something like NVIDIA. So are we close to the silicon limit? I was thinking about this while I was walking around my campsite this morning. I mean, we are pretty much at the limit, and that's why the pricing is so expensive as it is now. They have so much they can produce in the year, so they know exactly how much a fab can truly produce within the year. So that's why companies like OpenAI, or say Gemini, like Google, or any of these AI companies, if they want their wafers, they know exactly how much this company is going to produce. Now, the way it works is the companies will create these contracts, and the contracts have to be accepted by the AI companies, whether they can allocate so many wafers to them. So, unfortunately, because the wafer demand is so high for when it comes to AI, when it comes to us, when it comes to more of the consumer side, we're more fed the scrap pile of what's left when it comes to wafers. Now, what makes it worse is the yield is much less compared to something like a semiconductor like from TSMC. So since the yield is less and it has to be a bit more perfect, that leaves them less room for error, which makes it more expensive. That's why RAM and everything like SSDs or anything along that matter is more expensive. So the computer is for security, so that's why they're adding the extra monitor. So I'm also, oh, nice. Hopefully you're enjoying your camping. Hopefully this does not ruin you, because I do want to talk about this topic. So it looks like the majority of people says, yes, it's actually, most people would certainly mind renting. They don't like that idea. So Steven says, I won't support Sony buying GTA 6. I think they wanted to do this move a while ago. In fact, Sony wanted to have this exclusivity rights of GTA 6 exclusively to their console for a whole month. Originally, Rockstar said, hey, we'll do it with you guys, Sony, as long as if you just fess up $100 million. It sounds like something you would hear from, say, like Austin Powers or something, but that's really the quote that they gave Sony. And you know what Sony said? No, we'll be fine. And now everything that you see from Sony is all GTA 6 themed, which is hilarious. And more than likely, they need something to really help their system, because I know Wolverine is not cutting it for Sony. Sorry, it's just the honest truth. So Hidden Bull says, I don't like rent to own, but I'm doing it a lot because a lot of my customers can't drop 2K to 3K on a PC. 2000 is about the cheapest I can build one. You know, it's funny, Hidden. You actually just gave me a flashback of a customer that actually asked me this very question. They asked me if they can be able to rent to own a PC. At first, I pretty much declined them because I didn't like the idea of it. Of course, it's scary. You don't know how it's going to be, how the system's going to be, if it's going to be in good shape, if they're unable to pay. There's so many different situations when it comes to it. It's also scary for the actual business to actually do something like this, let alone having the customer also be able to pay on a timely manner. So I definitely give it to you, Hidden, for being able and being kind enough to be able to do so. But honestly, I think it's a correct direction if it is going that to the just because of how expensive everything is. So I can see the majority of people said yes, they do certainly mind, and people that say no is in the minority, unfortunately, because again, cost is expensive. So how about the service where you get to rent your PC out to, you know, I really love the idea that someone gave out and having a pretty much a PC LAN cafe. I think it would work great. I think it would be pretty much kind of like a retrospect idea because cost is expensive. But if you think about it in the long run, how well will the business run? And I think it truly matters on how the cost will be, especially in the up, like say 2030. Say if the cost finally does drop down in pricing, how will the LAN cafe run? You would have to secure all the customers that are willing to go to the LAN cafe on top of it. So it's a bit of a tricky situation, hence why rent to buy can seem so tempting. So a silicon limit is 1 nanometer at the radius of a hydrogen. You know, they even have smaller. They even have 0.7. But they are getting smaller. I think that's like the limit that there are. But I think they're at 0.7 at the minimum. So now here makes me out if Microsoft makes a dedicated OS for gamers that needs it. Definitely, I agree. Here's my PS5 Slim Digital is barely 1 year old. Since last week, it is overheating. Do I need to clean? More than likely, I believe that is going to be the case. Typically, the consoles build the fans poorly. And anybody that's taken apart a console can certainly tell you that. It's going to be just one fan practically in there to kind of exhaust the heat. More than likely, it probably took in quite a bit of dust. And usually that is what's going to be the case. Watch, open up your case. Open up your case. Let the fan breathe. You can put like something like some sort of mesh filter on it temporarily if you're afraid of dust, but that will resolve the issue. So when XR, yeah, it's possible. So I know. I got Havy. What's going on? I'm glad to see you, bro. Wasabi, great to see you. Hey Mal, which motherboard that is good to play game and streaming? Typically, I recommend like a B. I almost said. I don't know what I was going to say. B850 is a great motherboard. So is a Z890. You can get them for a great deal, honestly. Get Intel's 270K Plus. It's a great deal for that processor. Even though it's not as upgradable, it's a great option. And it's cheap. Series S now costs what? It's ridiculous. I know, guys. It's just ugly. Oh, man. I can't wait to explain this to you. I don't know if you guys heard about this news, but Asus asked... this is a joke. They didn't really ask for 5,090. Honestly, they asked for more. It was 5,000. I think it was $5,100 for the canceled price of $4,600. So they refused to honor it because they pre-ordered it prior to the price jump. So NVIDIA was unable to honor this Asus RTX 5090. Instead, slapped them with the new price and say, "Hey, if you pay this up, we'll ship it out to you. No problem." Late 90s and early 2000s internet. Yeah, I agree. Okay, thanks. Oh, yeah, for sure. Let me know. Destiny, great to see you. Thank God I bought a GPU early. The price, yeah, it's absolutely insane. I'm glad for everyone that was able to obtain a GPU. In fact, I just want to go over this just to show you how ridiculous the pricing is. So this is directly from NVIDIA customer care to the customer. Now, read it early. Isn't that insane, Wasabi? It's absolutely crazy. And by the way, why do people not? Yeah, you know, it's because I hate to say it, there's people out there that will push Intel down because they blame the platform pretty much. They really don't like it ever since the 10th generation, and ever since then they made sure that they'll never, ever, ever go back to the platform again. But to be honest, it's really ridiculous to be one-sided on any company. Whether it's Intel, whether it's AMD, whether it's NVIDIA, any of these companies are really quick to turn on you. So just be not biased. Just pick out what has the best product. The perfect example is Sony. Sony talked about not backwards compatibility, but they talked about not having physical disc anymore. In fact, they even shut down the PS3 store, which is going to be really soon. And I have a collection in that store as well myself. So that just shows you, don't just stick to one company. Have your options. Whichever company does best, you want to go with that company, because that's how better products actually do happen. So I like that idea. Taking the small claims is a great idea. So after checking with ASUS, clarification, we were informed that the price change update was provided to us a little late. You like how they put a little late? So then they said, as a result, when you place the order at the older price, ASUS, so they practically blamed you and said, hey, you bought it too cheap. ASUS canceled the order because they were unable to fulfill it at that prior price. So they said, ASUS said, no, we're not going to honor this. I'm sorry, you thought you got it for that price, but here's the new price. Either you take it or you leave it on the table. So we understand your frustration, especially since the order placed before the updated price request. The updated price appeared on our website. We did request ASUS to honor. So even NVIDIA said we requested it. So meaning NVIDIA did absolutely nothing. So I like to really say what is happening behind the scenes. But anyway, so NVIDIA says that they tried to get the price honored. So ASUS, however, they were unable to fulfill the request at the prior price at this time. So unfortunately, we are unable to make any further changes to our canceled order from our end to place any new order at the old rates. And I like how they put it really tiny, the font in the bottom here, where they said, we appreciate your understanding. How do you know he understands? Are you sure he understands? I'll turn off that poll, guys, because I'm sure everyone has put in their thoughts on that poll anyway. I will shoot up the next poll in a little bit. So, Wasabi says, sorry if lately I didn't take any part of conversations on Discord. Watch the late. I understand, man. I don't blame you. I mean, I would be pissed off if I got that tax return. If anybody gets into a life situation, look, I'm not going to rag on you for not showing up on the stream. Life happens. We all been through it. If you run into issues, go through your issues first. There's no rush to get to the stream. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere, and I'll stay here. And maybe I'll even do some random streams, as you guys know. So, Sony made 1.2 billion digital, 200 million physical sold, 95. Yeah, I saw those numbers, and that's exactly why they're pushing on the whole digital side. They said, hey, we're doing great already as it is. We don't need these physical discs. Instead, we're wasting more money producing these physical discs. And I would love to hear from you Sony guys to see what you think. If you have faith that you guys will certainly bring back, especially those who truly believe that physical will end up coming back for the win. If you truly believe so, please voice your opinion. I would love to hear if you truly believe that this fight will continue. If not, if you're starting to lose hope, I would like to know that as well, because I'm really curious. At first, you heard the voices of people truly protesting against this whole physical idea and said that they're not going to purchase any games. You have people that canceled their GTA 6 orders. And it's truly a shame, because then you have their own community that ends up dividing, which is something Sony does want anyway. They know they have their loyal fan base that, you know, likes to get on the knee pads there, as I like to mention. They like to go on their knee pads and fulfill Sony's request, because they like to work for them for $0. In fact, they're willing to pay Sony for the next PS6 when it does end up releasing, and digital games on top of it. But anyway, they don't support their fellow Sony brothers or sisters. So I gotta say, I'm really curious how the true fan base is feeling. So Pixel says, I want to experiment by comparing 4 SLI GTX to 280s. Yeah, go for it, man. Thoughts on the Xbox disc, the digital? It's not a bad idea, but the problem is, I think, I mean, it can work. It's not truly a bad idea, because technically a lot of us PC gamers who went through this era, so to say, we have the physical disc. We still have I still have my physical disc. If we load up those physical disc, it wouldn't matter anyway, because it's pretty much in our launcher as it is. So I think Microsoft proposed a decent idea, to be fair. I think to be able to have it as a launcher is a great idea. But I also can understand the argument that some would prefer to have more of their actual hard drive, more of their actual space, their physical space. But unfortunately, it hasn't been that way for a long time. Whether you have a physical game or a digital game, it's always loaded. Yeah, what's up, user? Great to see you, man. There's a lot of contempt for the consumer lately from corporations. Exactly, I agree, absolutely. So, yeah, exactly. Dead Forever says, I have a laptop with a Ryzen 250 RTX 5060 to game while I travel, but my desktop is ancient ASF, as you guys know. The 4690, again, I love that processor generation, by the way, anyway. 1078 gigabytes of RAM. I've been squeezing it as long as I can. Well, Ted, I gotta say, how well does it truly run? If you have that laptop, how well does your desktop run on the type of games that you play? Now, if you play games like Counter-Strike 2, I don't think it honestly matters. If you play games like Minecraft or Fortnite, honestly, it does not matter. But if you want to play AAA titles, of course, it certainly does matter when it comes to, say, if you use Unreal Engine 5.6 now that we're on. If prices just keep rising, better bite the bullet now. I do agree in a sense to where if you're doing a full PC build, if you're say you use the case that you end up taking apart your old PC hardware, I mean, you can use that same case and then end up getting like a decent kit out of Newegg or a Micro Center, which let's take a look. We'll go into Newegg, for example, and we can take a look at a kit at Newegg. That would be the best idea. Most people who are purchasing for a upgrade, or most people that are looking to build a PC, do not buy each separate component because it will cost more. What's up, Pixie? I know it's you, Egyptian. But great to see you, Pixie. I don't know whether to call you Pixie or Egyptian now. So how are RAM prices doing? Any RTX 50 Super news? RAM prices are doing absolutely horrific. So unfortunately, they're not doing the best. And when it comes to RTX 50 Super news, it seems that more than likely it's going to be on its way. I believe you will definitely see more of it at CES 27. Again, it's very soon. We're only a few months away from truly CES. I mean, we got about 4 more months until then. So I think we'll see it then. But the RAM pricing is still volatile as all hell. Unfortunately, it's taken a complete, absolute shit. So I had the 4790K. Yeah, as you know, that's like one of my favorite processors there. The Devil's Canyon is great. But bundles are always great for deals for PCs. Chris always finds the best deals, and thank you. Yes, so what I do is I try to find everybody the best deals as possible when it comes to a PC build. So if you're looking to purchase a PC, and you're looking to build a bundle, so to say, this is what I typically do. If you don't have a micro center near you, what I typically do will look for specifically the processor first, because the reason why I do, for example, the 7700X3D, it's pretty wild. This processor has released. You don't really hear too much about it. I mean, we have one, and I'm waiting on more items for more hardware to drop. So that way, once it comes here, we can get this PC build out and ready to go so we can see how it performs. But for example, we'll look up a 7700X3D. So this is a great cooler for it. It's a 240 CPU AIO. Perfect. It comes free with it. And you also want to look a bit further down here where you see the combo savings. So for example, remember, you got the cooler for free anyway. So if you want to get, say, a RAM kit because you have to upgrade to DDR5, since they're pretty much based on DDR3 still, then you want to look for a kit that offers RAM. So something like this kit here, 7700X3D B850 Gaming Plus, and the G-Skill Ripjaw's M5 Neo. Decent deal, but it is 16 gigabytes of RAM. Unfortunately, more and more kits seem to be limiting the amount of RAM that they do share. Yes, we are certainly lucky to have Micro Center. I really hope that they start branching out because I think it would be a wonderful idea. I think most people would certainly appreciate Micro Center to appear somewhere in Europe. So I've been thinking about buying a 3080 Ti, 12 gigabytes, or even in Canada. So I can get one cheaper than a 9060 XT 16 gigabytes. Absolutely. So as long as if you can't get one for the better deal, obviously that's definitely the best way to go. So Micro Center is definitely the best store. Too bad there is not such a store in Europe. It's insane. I really feel bad for you guys because you guys have to also pay the VAT tax on top of everything, which makes it worse. So Canada is terrible as well. I mean, how close? If the good thing is you have the Canadian border. If you truly have to go travel over to a Micro Center, it would make a wonderful trip over. Ernesto, what's up? Great to see you. Hopefully you're keeping nice and cool over there in Arizona. I know it's been hot. We're starting to get a little bit more into the rainy season now here in August here in wonderful Miami. So they should make a franchise in UK and at least or in Canada. Absolutely agreed. I think they would do well as long as if they keep the motto 100% the same. So super hot, but not today. Cloudy and dusty. The kind of day where you got to wrap a bandana like around your nose and your mouth. I get it, and it would be brutal, absolutely brutal to ride a bike in that type of weather. But I definitely give it to you guys. Hopefully, it hasn't been too terrible to the point where things have melted out there, because I know it could get truly that hot. So, for anybody that has, luckily in Canada, luckily in the US, for those who do not have a Micro Center near you, Newegg is an excellent option for you guys. So make a franchise in Germany or the Netherlands. Taxes would be in their favor. I love that. In fact, I'm going to copy this, and because I really feel like they really need to branch out. I think they would do really well. 103? Yeah, well, for us, we got 103 feels like temperature. So we're not quite 103, as you know. For anyone that does follow the temperature, especially in places like in Florida and Miami, it's going to be technically like, say, like 93 or 94 degrees, but it feels like 103. So the humidity is definitely up there, but it's definitely been cooling off a lot quicker in the evening. So at least we're past that point. We're a bit more closer to the whole hurricane season, which makes me want to remind everybody out there, for anyone that has any type of volatile weather, or any type of really bad rainstorms or thunderstorms, you want to make sure to have a decent backup system with your PC, because it would be 100% worth it. You do not want your PC to get damaged. I've shown you guys that there was this large lightning strike. In fact, it damaged the PC, not by the actual power, actually damaged it via the Ethernet port. So make sure to get a proper battery backup system or a power surge protector. So if I get a Master 5080, should I replace the thermal gel? Completely optional. Of course, you can do that. You will definitely see better temperatures if you choose to do so. 92 here in Longview, Washington. Nice, nice. But at least, but it's a little bit more drier there, I would think, right? It's more drier. It's not as humid. So at least it's 90. If it says 92, it's actually 92. So how much is 40 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit? Oh, that's really hot, actually. Actually about similar. It's similar to like 100. It's like 102. That's like 102 degrees in Fahrenheit. But just to let you know, Igor, if I convert 92. So if it's 92, that's like roughly 35, like about 35 degrees Celsius. When it comes to Arizona, 103, that's like closer to 40. So Arizona definitely feels your temperature. And I don't know if it's more humid there or not, but if it is, it's going to feel any worse. 37 degrees, yes. So got a UPC on Amazon. Oh, okay, okay. Wow. I can imagine Amazon's probably like covered to the core when it comes to it. So pricing wise, for anybody that's tuning in, really curious about the pricing, I'm just going to throw it out there. For those who are curious about the pricing when it comes to NVIDIA, it is up, unfortunately, 20 to 30%, so it is more expensive. Yes, yes, it is. It is 20 to 30%. That, of course, NVIDIA is no laughing matter. That's no joke when it comes to GPU pricing, because this certainly does hurt everyone. Now, when it comes to AMD, their pricing has also gone up quite significantly high. AMD has gone up, especially on the RX 9060s. I mean, RX 9070 XTs, they're up as high as even up to $800 range. But still, you can find some decent deals on AMD. There's a couple companies out there like PowerColor, ASRock. They still have some of their RX 9070 XTs for under $700. So basically, should I exchange the thermal gel for thermal pads and exchange the liquid metal for good? I mean, you could. You could experiment with it to see how it does. Again, this would be a bit more experimental. But I think, I certainly believe you would get better temperatures, of course, in that sense. You're using more higher grade quality when it comes to thermal grizzly. So they do temperature measurement in shade on the sun. It's 7 to 10 degrees more, so it's basically 45 to 50. Oh, wow. That's even worse. That's like, so if it's 45 to 50, you're talking about closer to like 120, like 125. That's really hot. So that 770 looks like one of the best deals out there. Absolutely. So if you're looking for, say, like a kit, like this combo kit, the 7700X, the 7700 X3D, which is also, again, an X3D processor based on Granite Ridge. You can take full advantage of it on the AM5 motherboard, which is featured with MSI's B850 Gaming Plus, a great motherboard to go with. Only thing it has is 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is okay. You can always expand later. This is a great option for anybody that just wants to get started on a PC build, especially if you're coming from console. We get it. It can be quite expensive, but you can truly still build a PC under $2,000. It still can be managed. You just have to kind of get to it before it even shoots up even further. So this whole kit plus the coolers, $558. So you got 4 of the components. You only need 4 other components truly to put a PC together. And that's going to be the power supply. You need the PC case, you need the GPU, and you need an SSD. Those are the 4 components that you need. And all of those, again, you still can get for a decent deal. So at 46 degrees Celsius in Longview, Washington, which is, yeah, oh my gosh. I had no idea it got actually that hot there. I always thought it was actually one of the more cooler areas. So, Waffle Skater, anyone managed to snag the crucial P5 Plus? 2 terabytes yesterday for 151. Oh, wow. That is awesome that you got it for that price. Did you get it through Woot, or did you actually get it through Amazon itself? Because Woot, I heard, had some really, truly wonderful deals. Waiting for it to inevitably be canceled. Oh, I would raise hell. Raise hell to Amazon. They better send that to you, Waffle Skater. They gotta send it to you. So when I go back for 10 seconds on the balcony, it feels like hot air on the furnace. Uh, Amazon. Okay, okay. Yeah, I get it. I know it's rough. Have you guys been actually purchasing AC units like out in the European regions? Because I heard it's been that hot. Like people are wanting to actually purchase AC units because at first I know it's like this big, how do I say, big stigma to get AC units. Like you're frowned upon on if you end up getting AC unit. Like why spend extra money on a device like that? But oh man, it can be a lifesaver, especially if it's that hot. That's ridiculous. When it hit 46 degrees Celsius, this almost sounds unreal. I bought a dehumidifier. Oh, I mean, that'll help. That'll certainly help. But in Italy, I believe it's a bit more drier, right? The climate's a bit more drier. But if it's that hot, I would imagine that it can help acclimate the temperature. Especially, I know, like for you to even on the work that you do with your videos, and for even if you attempt to stream, I can imagine it would feel like torture. In fact, I was speaking to Takuma the other day, and Takuma was just saying about like how ridiculously hot it is to even touch his PC. So he kind of hasn't really been on his PC because of just how rough the temperatures has been. I certainly hope that the temperatures will improve, especially over in the European nations there. So we have AC in France. It is bad because I can't buy because of the infrastructure and other issues. 50 plus people died. I'm sorry to hear that. In Germany, the highway was damaged from the heat. It's crazy. Wow, that is absolutely insane. So yeah, you have has it been causing pretty much like sinkholes then, I would assume? I have AC units in each floor, but what I paid for the gas bill when used the floor warmer system, I would much rather sweat and go through summer. I agree. I'm the same way. Some people, I know it's a bit more tough to take the heat. I would much rather take the heat than deal with negative temperatures any day. I know how that feels. That can be absolutely rough. So, but yeah, I can agree with you. I have AC in both my rooms of my apartments. Awesome. That's good though. Like anybody, AC might sound like this terrible stigma that don't get an AC unit. It's a big waste. Honestly, it's one of the best lifesavers that you can have if you're able to get one. Or you even do like what Wasabi does. Get a dehumidifier if you need to. My electric bills is $200. I live alone. Wow. Probably need to raise my AC from 70 to something higher. Yeah. Yeah, more than likely that's the case. It's because they know summer is like the highest demand when it comes to the actual usage of things like AC. So any type of an electric usage, the kilowatt hours the kilowatt rates also shoot up like crazy. So it's going to be much more expensive in the summer compared to something like the winter. So it's the unfortunate case for many of us, for everywhere. I gotta say, this affects everyone. I was just speaking to one of my friends, and his AC bill is ridiculous because he has an AC unit that needs replacing, but his bill was about $500, which is absolutely insane, way too expensive. But of course, it's an AC unit for a whole house, but still, it should not be that expensive. So I have a AC both rooms. Just to let you guys know, whoever is coming in, this is not an HVAC chat, but it just happened to be this way because we're talking about temps, the unfortunate temps over in Europe, and yeah, it's truly a shame. I'm also Moroccan, so I can go through the Italian heat. Moroccan heat is drier heat. Oh, okay, so it is more drier there. Feels like someone blowing a flamethrower. You know what it feels like? Of course, when it comes to more drier heat, it feels like, in fact, Ernesto can definitely piggyback on this as well, because it feels like you're in an oven. That's what it feels like. You're like an oven because it has that real dry heat. That's what it feels like. It feels like you're sitting in an oven when it comes to dry heat compared to something that has a bit more of humidity. So, going back to the point, guys, like for anyone that is looking to get a GPU, unfortunately, the case has NVIDIA has raised up their prices here when it comes to their GPUs. Same thing with AMD, they have raised their prices, especially when we take a look at something like the RTX 5080 Astral. That is like one of the first indications of price increases. Oh, this is kind of funny, guys. We were just speaking about this the other day. Look, they actually gave it a price cut. I wonder if this is from outside of ASUS. I'm going to put sold by Newegg just in case. I probably, yeah. Too good to be true, usually is. So we're looking direct from Newegg. And unfortunately, all their Astrals already sold. You know, it's funny because I noticed the same pattern for Micro Center as well, which I'm going to share with you. We're going to go to Micro Center and check that out as well. How much does everyone pay? I pay 29 cents per kilowatt. I have to check my bill to let you know. But I think I'm probably like pretty much close to the same rate. Do you live in Italy, brother? It was so during June 2020, 7 days had a blast. RTX 5080 is the new RTX 5090, pretty much. It's expensive. It's an equal cost. Worse it needs to be. It's true. It can be. So the RTX 5080 Astral. Let's look it up here. I know it was so crowded. Imagine there's cities like places like in Venice. I can imagine how rough it is. So $2,099. Okay, they actually have some in stock now. So originally when I first checked it earlier for this RTX 5080 Astral, they didn't have any in stock. So now it's $2,099. So it's just as costly, just as expensive as a NVIDIA's Founder Edition card. So if you're to get a RTX 5090 Founders Edition, you can actually literally get it at the same price, except you get much less VRAM, which is kind of sad. So unfortunate case is that once ASUS has raised their prices, they're pretty much the first ones to give the signaling. And what I mean by signaling is between all the companies, between Gigabyte, between MSI, Zotac, PNY, all the different companies that you can think of, they're usually the first ones to say like, hey, we're going to raise our prices. It's probably a good idea that you guys do it too. So more than likely, you're going to also see the other trends follow. Usually Gigabyte's usually the second, MSI's the third, to usually follow up, and then every other company after that. But unfortunately, the pricing has continuously gone up. Now, when we go over here, which we're going to go over to check out the price trends when it comes over to PC Parts Picker. Because if we go over here, you have a good indication of just how expensive memory prices has truly gone up. So 2027, I need to buy it. Yes, do it. It's a great idea, Wasabi, to do so. Been in Venice in 2015 February during the Venetian Festival. It was crowded but cold, only windy, but had fun. I'm glad you enjoyed it out there. I've been holding off. Let me verify I'm human real quick. I've been holding off on buying RAM and storage. I keep thinking the price has to come down. I think we all have this sort of insanity in us that we truly believe that this price will eventually drop, that we're going to see a change when it comes to the price trend, when it comes to memory, when it comes to storage. But unfortunately, we have not been lucky enough to catch any true drops. We've seen indications, but instead we keep seeing indications of it going up. It's doing the exact opposite of what we don't want it to do. Now, when it comes to the price trends over here, let me see here. There we go. When it comes to the price trends here, we're going to go down to DDR5. Now, this is at 5600 at 32 gigabyte sticks. So it's gone up slightly. You see that? It's a slight jump. We're kind of pretty much zoomed in onto the chart. If we got to zoom in further, please let me know. Let me see. So it's roughly over that, pretty much over that 1,000 mark. It's pretty much hit it like pretty much like beginning of, I'd say, not even in June. You saw that slow drop, but then slowly started raising the price in July. So you can imagine August is going to look a bit volatile there. So let's go back down here. The more common memory that most people shoot, and this is where you're going to see all that volatility and the adjustment actually come in at, is right here. So it's July, right, guys? It was July, I should say. So now it's into August. You can see how much of a jump that is. That's a nearly $150 jump. So they typically averaged roughly about, I'd say about $1,100 for, which we never really see, $1,100 for a 64 gigabyte kit of RAM. It's actually jumped up nearly to close to 1,250. So again, it's almost up 150. It's probably a bit under, probably closer to $140 up. So this is the unfortunate trend. I was hoping it wouldn't take effect till Q3, which is going to be the start of September. It seems that it's even started sooner than that, which is not a good sign. Unfortunately, for anyone that is in the market or wanting to purchase a PC, you have to be wary of this. So Waffle Skater says separate love seat is causes. Damn, I know. I had to block that guy. So or that bot, I should say. I love when websites claim that I failed that. I know, right? You gotta love it. On Amazon, Germany, I saw DDR5 CL30, 32 gigabytes at 400, and 2 days later, it went up to 500. Not even gold or diamonds do. I know it's rough, man. It's oh, uh, sounds like you accidentally. Mike, you did it again. You gotta swap out that mute button that you got. So unfortunate, this is the case. This is why GPUs are going up in price. They haven't quite said it yet. I'm surprised they haven't said it yet. But as it comes to RAM, it's actually gone up in price. And that's the very reason why you're seeing the price increases when it comes to the GPUs once again. SSDs, you're probably curious about it. SSDs. Now that's been a very interesting situation, I have to say. Let's go ahead and look at a 1 terabyte NVMe. The most 2 terabytes, in fact, because that's even more common. It's pretty much calmed down. It's pretty much steadied out. Not as volatile, but doesn't mean it's all well and good in the world, because roughly 2 terabytes. I was just looking at this list. I gotta share it with you guys too. I'll actually share the short with you guys. The time when we went to Micro Center, we went out to Micro Center over to with Ricardo. We actually went through his receipt, and the RAM, the pricing, not just the RAM, but the pricing itself was just quite better. It was so much better when it came to the pricing. $83 for 32 gigabytes of RAM. It almost sounds unrealistic. It almost sounds like a bargain deal. But the truth is that it was still an awesome deal for what it was, especially for what the kit actually offered. Now originally you could get that kit until for 14700K. It was an Asus Z790 motherboard plus 32 gigabytes of RAM for all $400. Now that it seems that's unrealistic, we could go over to Micro Center and attempt to even build a kit similar to that. But unfortunately, that is why they actually increased the rates when it comes to their bundles. When you take a look at the rates of their bundles here, it's $750 for a 7800X3D. Also for the Corsair RGB 32 gigabytes of RAM plus Asus B650E. Isn't that insane? A B650E, 32 gigabytes of RAM and 7800X3D is all $749.99. So the price has increased. Originally, roughly about a couple weeks ago, we seen it about $700. So the pricing has been adjusted. Closest. So I think the sweet spot for 10 gigabytes of VRAM, if you have 8 gigabytes GPU, just always a little more. So closest you'll find the 14700K bundle is on Intel side. Yes. Let's see. Remember that kit I just mentioned, 14700Ks, the 790, 32 gigabytes, 400s. Now, the closest kit that we have. Now, these are all 270K plus. Again, great deals. Z890, great motherboards. Definitely go for the build. They even have a pro art, which is pretty awesome for you creators out there. Damn, $1,000. Oh my gosh. But anyway, let's go down here. The closest thing we have to a 14700K is nothing. The closest thing would be the 14900K. Again, it's a way different processor that we're speaking on behalf. It's their more powerful processor, 32 gigabytes of RAM, Z790, but practically close to the same build and nearly doubled in price. $850 for that build, and then $900 for this other build, which is based on the Z790 Plus Tough Gaming board. So I paid less than $9,800 bundle after taxes. Isn't that crazy, Waffle? It's a shame. So let's go up here. Now, for anyone that is shopping for Intel, do not be scared of Intel. Definitely worth to take a look at. Now, I'm going to throw a poll out there for everybody, and you can feel free to answer. Is anyone here, are you currently looking for a PC build? Are you looking to have a PC build or upgrade your PC build? Please let me know. I'm going to throw that in the poll here. Are you looking to upgrade or build a PC? So feel free to answer. You can put 1 or 2. For anyone that is interested in upgrading their PC, that is how you vote. It is not a GUI poll, so you can't just tap on it or click on it. You have to put 1 or 2 in order for your vote to count. So are you looking to upgrade or build a PC? And if you are, please let me know the reason. If you are coming from console, let me know. I would love to know what makes you interested in going into the PC world. What makes you want to enter the wonderful world of PCs? Or if you're looking to upgrade your PC, why are you looking for the upgrade? As everybody knows, I don't usually suggest upgrading unless you absolutely necessarily do need to upgrade your PC. Especially, I can understand if you're coming from something like Devil's Canyon, that is quite a bit of time. I get it, especially for those who've been saving that long. If you're coming from an older PC such as that, I certainly get it. If you're coming from, say, slightly newer, like AM4, or it's funny to say slightly newer because it's still alive, that platform. So, Waffle Skater says, only looking, nothing more. Have 3 PCs in my house right now. Only thing that I'm looking to upgrade is the network card to prep for fiber whenever that shows. You and me both, Waffle. You know how quick I will call up Comcast. I will not care the cost of the cancellation fees just to get it out of here, just to get fiber into this wonderful house. In fact, I will happily help them burn the line because I cannot stand the upload speeds. It's just horrific. So Igor says 205 definitely. That's my next upgrade so I can play Forza 6 and other titles with amazing graphics. It makes perfect sense. Shay, he puts his vote in. He's looking to either do an upgrade or build a PC. So Hidden says, do you remember when Staples used to give out free USBs? I do. But now it seems like it's kind of reverted around and now it's more Micro Center. that gives the USBs. They still give flash drives if you go to a micro center. I don't know if they do it now because of how expensive memory is. So that's what's uh, you don't see as many handouts as much as you used to. Before, you all you had to do was sign up for an email and you get a free USB. In fact, it was a nice 128 gigabyte flash drive that you can pick up. And there's so many times I've neglected to actually pick it up, and I never ended up actually getting one because of it. So Steven says I paid $800 for my 12 gigabyte 4070 Ti, and you can get a new 12 gigabyte GPU B580. Thank you for sharing that, because he is absolutely right. You can get a new B580 for a wonderful price. For anyone that is tempted on, say, like the RX 9050, there is much better options. You have this card right in front of our face here. That's literally the same price, and you have 12 gigabytes. So you even get more memory than you do on a RX 9050 XT. So this is a great option for everybody. There's 11 in stock. I would love to put it head to head with a RX 9050 just to see how well it performs in games such as Counter-Strike 2, Fortnite, or any games realistically. Of course, we can try out games like Black Myth Wukong if you truly want to really push the limits to see how well it runs, especially with frame generation or FSR. I know you guys are certainly curious for that fact. So Hidden says, pull up the B580 versus 9050. Oh, they already have it on Passport. Please send me the link, Hidden, if you can. Also, for anyone that's not part of Discord, you can feel free to join. You can easily join Discord. All you have to do is put !Discord, and the Discord link will pop up. You can feel free to show off your PCs, or if you have any questions that you would like to personally ask. So Igor says, what is that GPUs? Chris, sorry, I went to the get water. Oh, okay. So the B580 is a budget, pretty much like a budget card. It's made by Intel. It's been neglected and certainly one of the most underrated cards out there. I'm certain that many of you guys out there probably don't have a B580 or have like little to no interest. And I get the reason why. It's an underpowered card. You're expecting for more of a competitor against somebody like NVIDIA. But this actually is now a realistic card where it's almost like Intel foresaw into the future. Reason why I say that, because AMD has is planning to release their RX 9050. Some of the brands already released their versions, such as Gigabyte has released their variants of the RX 9050 XT. And it's at this price point at $300. Now, when it comes to the RX 9050 XT, you're looking only about 8 gigabytes of VRAM. Now they do have one that is pretty much stock based, where it comes with your Dell or HP or whatever pre-built PC, where it's 4 gigabytes. That had a lot of controversy behind it, but it turns out that that GPU is not going to be one that's going to be for the markets. But that's why I kind of joked about the whole not the B580, but more of the actual RX 9050 a bit earlier. But I do agree, B580 does great in Linux because the Intel's right for yeah, and they've been pushing it more. Linux actually, the kernel in 7.3, they've been improving it when it comes to Panther Lake as well. I think Intel is doing a great move, same as AMD. Of course, NVIDIA has been a little bit more closed sourced, as you guys know, when it comes to their drivers, but they are certainly working on ways in order for it to work. It is improving. We're getting a bit closer to DLSS when it comes to Linux, and when that happens, just imagine how many people that you would have willing to swap over to Linux. Now, now for all you Microsoft guys, for all you Linux users out there, I'm going to throw out a question, because I want to throw out a poll, because I think this certainly does bring a lot of curiosity in this world. There's certainly a lot of people that are curious about something like Linux because they never touched it. They see the terminals with the different codes and you automatically assume that's how you run Linux the whole time, but it's changed. It's changed so much since then. So would you be willing be willing to try Linux. Now, typically, you know what? I gotta make a video on this. In fact, on how to pretty much try it out. So, for anyone that is based on Windows and Microsoft, how do you truly feel? Because I love that question that he asked. Like, how do you feel about how Microsoft pretty much changed their wording? Would you be willing to try Linux? So all you have to do is put 1 or 2 in order to vote, and that will have a display an effect. In fact, I'm so excited that I have to show you pretty much the results here. That was some earlier benches off of the RX 9050 as we've seen. Has it been truly impressive? This is next to the 550, so even the 550s, like even the better priced card, Rainbow Six Siege running at 204 frames on the RX 9050 versus 239. If you're wondering about the boxes, what they represent is different resolutions. As you see, actually down here, they mention it, 1920 by 1080 is the gray, 2560 by 1440 is the black, and 4K is practically the purple. So my best friend is running Linux. He is doing programming and coding and wants me to get into Linux. I might switch. It's a great experience, I have to say. If you want to try it, I highly recommend trying it in a virtual box first. If you get a virtual box, you can see how Linux, you can learn how Linux works. And if you see how it works, you might either like it or you may dislike it. Now, of course, they have their pros and cons when it comes to it. So Hidden says, I want to use Linux full time, but I just run into so much stuff that only works with Windows. I get it. I think that's certainly one of the major factors and concerns when it comes to something like Linux is the whole compatibility side. Personally, for me, I would love for the whole Adobe suite to be able to go into Linux. I think we would see more availability into Linux once you see more and more people switching to the OS. Now, this is what I really wanted to share with you guys. I'm going to go back down here. I want to share the actual numbers here because you can see that there was a drop when it comes to Windows users here. When it comes to Windows users, it went down about 0.18%. Next slide here. And about 90, you can see people dropping off of Windows about 0.43% in total. You have less people interested in Windows 11. You actually have an increase in Windows 7, which I find pretty funny, instead of going into either Windows 10 or Windows 11. So in the next photo here, I have to share. This is all from Steam Hardware Survey, by the way, if you guys are curious. So Linux has seen one of the largest increases. This could be thanks to the Steam machine, but this could also be thanks to more people interested in experimenting with a whole different OS. Now you see Steam OS Hollow 64-bit has went up about 0.05%. You see Cashy OS, another great distro, has gone up about 0.05%. Arch Linux hasn't really truly moved. Linux Mint has gained some interest, and so has Bezite. Pretty much a lot of the Linux distros has gone up in interest besides Nabara. I can see why Nabara doesn't have as much interest. It kind of makes sense, but anyway, the point is Linux finally broke 4% when it came to gamers usage. A very positive. This is a very positive outlook when it comes to Linux's future here, because the reason being is because now that it's gaining much more attention, that means it's going to also gain much more support. And because of that, the biggest hurdle, I believe, that Linux has to certainly face when it comes to this is going to be going through secure boot. Just like everything else that we've ever dealt when it comes to Linux, is secure boot has always been the issue. Doesn't matter if it was the actual OS, such as Steam OS or any type of Linux OS. It's usually secure boot that gives issues. Even if you think back in the day, like when it comes to old Android devices, when it came to what was one of the things that you actually had to do, you had to disable secure boot. So secure boot is one of the factors that has to certainly be pretty much figured. And if it can be done on Linux, then it would be pretty much great. The problem is, the security aspect, and that's what a lot of people certainly fear, is because if there is no true, if Linux can get around secure boot, they're afraid of the whole secure factor of it. But again, we evolve when it comes to OSs, and that could be figured out in time, just like anything else can. If there's a way through it, there's also a way to defend it as well. So KPS Lucas says it is not funny that the RTX 3080 was the best deal of time in 2020. That's a shame, because that's like, it's almost like 6 years ago. You're talking about half a decade at launch, and now the RTX 5080 is awful value. I agree. And 5080 should not cost that much. I kind of want to go back to that whole price trends for everybody out there that is not familiar with the current price trends, because it is quite horrific. If you want to compare, say, a RTX 5070 Ti and RTX 5080, it is absolutely mind-numbing. It doesn't make sense for anyone to be able to hop onto a more expensive 5080 versus a 5070 Ti, which you could literally get much more cheaper. So Steven Anderson says, I was playing Silent Hill 2 Remake last night on 1440p ray tracing on a no upscaling, just DLSS, on averaging on 108 FPS Manjaro Linux GNOME. Nice, nice. Impressive numbers. And the wonderful thing is you have much more less resources actually being used up when it comes to the OS. Now, the 5070 shouldn't cost much either. The 5070, I believe, has been pretty much holding steady. Out of all GPUs, that has been holding the most steady in price. But we can certainly take a look, because I am curious about when it comes to the pricing for it. So Igor says, I had the 2080 RTX. It was a beast in 2020. I agree. The 2080 seems like it was a wonderful time when it did exist at its time. Let's actually go back here, because I do want to show you the pricing for you guys here. Let's look at the RTX 5070 for all you guys who are curious about the whole pricing of NVIDIA, NVIDIA's pricing specifically going up. Now we're going to strictly look just for 5070, not the non-TI variant. Now, if you guys are unfamiliar with the RTX 5070, it's based on a 12 gigabyte VRAM. Now, it's oh wow. Actually, that kind of blew my mind for a second. That is nasty. Let's go in stock. You know, I was wrong, Igor. I was wrong, Hidden. I was absolutely wrong. Because I gotta say, the Asus Prime for $820. I just gotta double check this. I'm gonna double check this on Micro Center, because that's just insane. There's no way they're charging that much. That's the price of what a 5070 Ti should be. In fact, we got the 5070. Remember, guys, we got the MSI Shadow 5070 Ti last year for $800 even. Now it's at the price of a 5070 Ti. That makes absolutely no sense. Wow. I see where you're headed at, Hidden. Man, that is completely effed up. Waffle Skater says, I think it's about $150 more. Yeah, it's pretty nasty. I know. I know. I have no idea where this actually came from. I know. I agree. For anyone that wants to throw up right now, I get it, because this is absolutely nonsensical. You better get a RX 9070 XT. If you're considering an RTX 5070, at this point, get a RX 9070 XT. It's a better card than the 5070. Actually, the 5070 12 gigabytes is €1,000. It's €1,000. Absolutely crazy. Gonna take a quick sip while you digest this. Make sure to breathe. Make sure do not pass out, because this is actually real pricing. This is Micro Center, guys. Just to let you know, they do have 5 in stock. I paid $1,000 for my 5080 in December, and they're selling a 5070 for. That's what I'm saying. How is the demand even high enough? That blows my mind. I never suggest 5070s. I never. Euro is actually my banker. And 1,000, it's still really expensive. That's including the VAT tax, I'm assuming, with 1,000 euros, right? Because that is insane. That's still expensive. Man, I'm about to pass out here. I need my where is my control for the fan? Oh, there it is. I'm gonna grab my remote because, man, this has me sweating seeing this. That is just terrible. So hey, you guys get to see it 20-30% up, including the 5070. Oh, good news. If you get the overclock version, it's $909.99. So you just spend $100. Oh my gosh, that's just horrific. Okay, man, I was wrong. I was absolute. This is a $500-$600 card, guys. This is not a. I saw RTA. Yeah, that's what I said. Are they selling to those people? They don't know what. I feel like they don't. I agree. I hope it seems like there's at this point this is like a legal scam. You can literally sell they're selling to the parents out there that's trying to get their son or their daughter a PC, and they're buying these 5070s thinking they're getting one of the top and the best cards. They're selling them on the brand, they're selling them on NVIDIA, not knowing a 5070 is not even worth not even close to that price. I would, for that price, it is not worth it at that price. That is insane. Okay, let's go most lowest. See, you know, the funny thing is, PNY seems to be like less of the villain here, right? Because at least they're charging $620. That's more fair. That sounds like a 5070, but they got 7 in stock. Oh my gosh. And then when you take a look over here, MSI's 5070 Shadow, 660. Still a little more expensive, but hey, that's much better price tag than $800 to $900 there. I get them awful. It's not that bad. I promise you. It's really not that bad. Just download Bad Site or it's something really simple. Arch Linux isn't that bad either. Trust me, they do have it here. Father, son, they're going for the PC. They do legal scams on a daily basis. I believe it. Ground Game, it's great to see you. We're just talking about this whole pricing debacle. The RTX 5070 has gone up also in pricing. And I mean ridiculously up in pricing. Now, it seems to be... I don't like to point fingers at certain brands, but certain brands are charging a bit more than others. Gigabyte is charging $810 for their 5070 Eagle, which is not even their top of the line. So imagine the Aorus. The Aorus has to be at least. They don't have the Aorus. They have the gaming overclock, which is 840, and they have NVIDIA's 5070 solid overclock for 830. Now, see, these prices are nonsensical. Yeah, absolutely. So, unfortunately, this is very real, Fan Man. Let me turn on my fan here, guys. Oh my gosh. I need my bucket here to throw up in because it's just nasty. Dude, 5070 is higher than what yeah. I know. That's what yeah, isn't that crazy, Ground Game? It's an absolute ripoff. I'm gonna turn this off. This poll. I'm gonna in specific. Because I'm just curious. I'm gonna throw up a poll here. I'm not gonna throw up, but I'm gonna throw up a poll here. I want to throw up, But would you pay for a RTX 5070 that that's $800? So I'm gonna throw that up on the poll out of curiosity. I mean, there's no shame. Even though we're slamming it right now, we're absolutely slamming the RTX 5070. Can you now do GPU giveaways when the prices are that high? Please. I need it. I need my Noctua 5080. I wouldn't be able to stream to you guys if I gave that away. Aren't ASUS? Yeah, I know. Like I said, I don't really like to point fingers, but there's only so much you can do to support a brand. But man, when something is truly out of control, ban anyone that types. I like that, Waffle. That is funny. My RTX 4070 Ti was 780. It doesn't seem so bad now, right? It doesn't seem like such a bad deal. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe it's even priced. I know. It's crazy, right? Does the 5070 come with 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM? Then sure, I'd pay $800. This is why you go to China and buy the non-smuggling GPUs. Hey, this is no wonder why they resort to what they do. It makes sense. Didn't I hear something about... We're just scratching the surface, guys. We're just literally scratching the surface. Because we're only looking at the RTX 5070. Let alone, you ready? We're going to enter another world of hurt here. I thought it was bad enough seeing the 5090s. But man, I have to admit I was wrong here because I did not think the 5070s going up in price. It boggles my mind. If you're thinking of a 5070 for nearly the same price, you can get a RX 9070 XT, and it's a much better performing GPU than this 5070, where they're charging nearly $800, $900 for. Let's go 5080 here. Hey, good news, guys! If you purchase a 5070, let's clear this real quick. I'm gonna specifically pick the 5070 Ti here. So the good news is if you choose select GPUs here, you get $50 off your PSU. Yay! So the RTX 5060 Ti 16 gigabytes is no. Is it really? We didn't even touch the 5060s. If that's the case, that is just nasty work by these wonderful companies that we so love, right? Zotac, $929. Not completely terrible, but it is expensive still. 5070 Ti, $929. Now, just to remind everyone, the average price for a 5070 Ti should be closer to the $800 range. Now, they do have higher end, higher spec models. Now, these higher spec models or the overclocked editions will be priced a bit higher, and you might pay for a little bit more of a fancier fan shroud. So if you're really desperate for a Windows-like experience in Linux, there's a distro called Ubuntu Kylin, but the developers are trying to impress the CCP. I don't like the sound of that. So now your PSU will be back at its previous price. The $50 price increase. Hey, free PSU. Not free. $50 off your PSU. Hello, surgery September. Oh, man. Good luck on your surgery. Great to see you, though, Gasel. I'm glad that you popped in there. I paid $430 for my 5060 Ti 16 gigabytes. I'm telling you, having a GPU, having RAM, having any PC hardware component is better than actually holding some sort of commodity like silver or gold. It is insane, but it is the truth. I want an RTX 5060 Ti 16 gigabytes. one. So I found one on Best Buy for $580. That's actually, that should be the price of 5070. That is crazy. But check the link of the $50 off. Okay. Yeah, that we will certainly do. It's a function. It's a functional. Yeah, I like that ground game. I love that way of thinking. It sounds like nobody's willing to make. Nobody's willing to make the purchase, man. Nobody wants to purchase a 5070 that is priced at that wonderful price tag. Yeah, it's a really hard sell, NVIDIA. You're really reaching there. Martin says, Micro Center messed up the order. I'm returning my 9070 and grabbed a XT Reaper with the total tax of 640 after the compensation. Feeling pretty lucky. Also, oh man, that's awesome that you're able to get it. You're going to love the Reaper. That's like one of my favorite go-tos. I have 3 GPUs that are not being used. Don't say that because there are people that will be lurking and wondering where you live. All right, so we're going to look at this RTX 5070 Ti and see what select PSUs that they have. Now, it's $1,030. They do have it ready for pickup by 10 a.m. So if you're in the Miami location or vicinity, they do have 2 in stock for this MSI Ventus. And this is for the RTX 5070 Ti, and you get $50 off a select PSU. So let's find out what this select PSU truly is. Oh yeah, that's a badass PSU. Yeah, that's what I like about a ground game. That's what certainly attracts me to that PSU. Any of the new MSI PSUs has that failsafe. ASUS has now their equalizer, and Corsair is also coming out with their version, which is pretty much like similar to ASUS's equalizer. So I'm sitting on Quadro P620. If anyone wants to trade for a low profile AMD GPU, oh nice. We might see a documentary on Netflix, the Ryzen Fall. Hey, you're giving me ideas, Igor. And why don't we just do it ourselves? Let's do our own documentary. And you know the funny thing is, we're gonna have people sit in a dark room, and they're gonna have to be pretty much blacked out, and we're gonna have to just have a backlight for them, so that way you can't see their face. You'll just see the outline of them, right? And then they'll tell their story, and so that way they don't get killed by any of these semiconductor companies. So it's my purchase for the test bench. So so that's what's on. Okay, so you see this waffle skater? $50 off of $400, or $50 off of this the AI 1600 TS. You see this, guys? So at least you get a wonderful deal of $50 off of. So it is a really nice power supply. Don't get it twisted. It's super nice, but it's $50 off of something that's $400, and something that's off for $500. So it is a little bit on the upscale side. So technically, you're going to spend some decent money. So if you buy this, and say you buy the $400 PSU, you subtract roughly $50 off of it. You're spending $350, so you're spending really what, 13, nearly like $13.90, about maybe $13.80. No, yeah, and then plus taxes. Oh, yeah, almost there for a GPU. I know. It's absolutely crazy. At that point, you might as well go for an RTX 5080, right? It's the next person. That's like a smoothie punch card. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that is like that. It's like, yeah. Can you imagine Micro Center actually give out those cards? Like they give you one of those, like I don't have any cards laying around, but they give you a card, and on the back of it they just have the punch outs, and then you have to get like you got to get like 10 Micro Center stickers in order for you to finally get your free. It won't even be like a free power supply. I'll be like free thermal paste. At this price, thermal paste will seem like a pretty decent deal. Hey, at least it would be a smarter idea, right? To at least offer some thermal paste. I get the $50 with select PSUs, but man, that's insane. Um, and this is the lower tier, guys. Lower tier RTX 5070 Ti. You go to the higher tier, the MSI NVIDIA RTX 5070 Ti, the free rent edition, the free edition is $1,179. So this is a special edition by MSI, $1,179, which should be really the price of a RTX 5080. And remember, guys, because the RTX 5080, the Founders Edition, do you remember what the pricing was when they first released it? $1,000 even, which made sense because coming from the RTX 4080, where it was priced roughly about $1,300, and you saw how much backlash that's really got when it came to the RTX 50, the 4080, and it makes sense. There was a lot of backlash for good reason. And now you see the RTX 5080, they came out with $1,000, a much more fair price tag. But unfortunately, it just did not hold. Now we're looking at special edition RTX 5070 Ti's at $1,180. So I bought mine at $1,000. That's so lucky that you got your hands on that. The 50, yeah, exactly. Thank you, T-Don. The 5070 Ti Founders Edition was only $750. Really, really take that in, guys. Really take that in. The 5070 Ti was really only $750. Now you look at the price tag. Now it's nearly $520 more. It's almost double the price of what the original price was. And we're talking about good days. This is only almost 2 years ago. That's sad. It's a 2-year-old GPU, guys. Almost a 2-year-old GPU. We should be on the cusp of facing for the RTX 60 series at this point and be looking at lower prices, not looking at prices upticking. Actually, random curiosity, has anyone ever seen a used Ryzen 330? Nah, I can't say I've had. I've seen so many other processors, but not a used Ryzen 330 300X. Let's go back here. Okay, now you're going to more of an ASUS level card, the RTX 5070 Ti Prime. And remember, guys, the Prime was specifically not the top tier ASUS card. In fact, it is one of the lowest tier cards featured by ASUS. The Prime is just like pretty much the entry level GPU for anyone to just get an ASUS card. So this is $1,230. They don't have any other tiers available for ASUS. They do actually, which is the Ti Tough, which is $1,309. In fact, they even have a open box value where it's at $1,178.96. And that's open box, guys. That's the value of some new RTX 5070 Ti's now. But again, that's just ridiculous on the pricing. That should be an RTX 5080 without a doubt. Waffle Skater remembers Bob. Yeah, hey, to be fair, he does go back and forth on Twitch. Optimus Prime feels absolutely. Prime is supposed to be like the base level. Wait, what? The Tough should now be that much? That value you know, the Tough is actually like their mid tier. And the Pro Art is actually like kind of like their premium mid tier. So they don't have a Pro Art Ti. But it's going to get better because we're going to the 5080s now, as we're enjoying this wonderful volatility when it comes to the pricing of RTX 5080s. Now, the lowest price RTX 5080 that we do have is the short form factor WindForce, which is no surprise. It's priced at $1,230. So this card is, just really let that sink. For a short form factor $1,230 card. And this is their base card. Their Zotac $1,250, a solid core. The real basic Zotac card is $1,250. Now, The pricing here makes no sense. Remember, we just looked at a RTX 5070 Ti. That wasn't that far off from this price. In fact, it was the tough, it was the tough card that was $1,309. So would you rather get the tough or would you rather get an RTX 5080? Yeah, the Prime is considered below tough now. I know. That's the thing. Tough is supposed to be like pretty much like their second tier card. So I'm just like, yeah, I got my 5070 TL for the MSRP of $750 before it hikes. I'm glad that most people out there got their card. I certainly do feel bad for everyone that hasn't been able to upgrade or obtain a card. Now, of course, this is an open chat. You can feel free to ask any questions if you do have any concerns. Um, the wonderful Fan Bam will certainly be willing to help you out. You can feel free to also ask in Discord, and you can feel free to openly ask myself if you have a question as well. But is NVIDIA GeForce now a value proposition until video cards stabilize? At this point, it's pretty much it is. Because again, it comes to commodities. It's a real live, actual working commodity that you can use. Steve says, homemade mac and cheese. Now I'm starting to get hungry. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. You know, it's torture when you have this really strict regimen of working out and eating, and then you hear something like homemade mac and cheese. Now you got my stomach growling. I remember you were saying that prices were going to go up months ago. I'm glad I made my purchases last September. Yeah, I'm glad that everyone that's tuned in and has been part of the Fan Bam, I certainly do thank you guys as being wonderful members, especially for those who has been as long as that was able to watch me turn into the 10K subscriber mark. From that mark, I'm certainly some of you guys probably remember that was pretty much like the foreboding warning about hardware pricings pushing up, especially when it came to RAM, when it came to GPUs. From there, we had a very good indication that pricing was going to shoot up, and it certainly has. It continually shoots up into today. Unfortunately, it seems that this problem will continue on not into 2027, but some companies are saying to 2028. Yes, you are correct, Ernesto. That also includes SSDs as well. Reason being is because of the demand from AI. And some of you are probably like, I don't see it. I don't see the demand. I don't know why AI is demanding all this memory, but in the background, they are still continually demanding more RAM. An unfortunate truth, even though they come out with different ideas when it comes to efficiency, unfortunately, when it comes to RAM, they will, even though they can become more efficient, say more efficient AI, they will completely use the crap out of it until they go into the next level. And that's the unfortunate, sad truth. So Bob Arkinson says, I'm glad I got my RTX Pro 6000 Blackwell workstation for $82.46 before the price hikes. What's up, Brock? Great to see you. Intent to buy because a shortage. Wild. And for anyone that has certainly stocked up or has certainly expected it, I know Hidden Bull has bought as much as he could. I mean, I bought a lot towards the end of the year last year, especially when it came to RAM. And I still have some. I only have one extra kit now, one or two extra kits of RAM that can be truly used. And I carefully use it, especially with all these upcoming projects, as I want to make sure that the project is 100% using certain kits. But of course, if you guys have any specific requests when it comes to any certain builds that you would like to see, please let me know, and we'll see if we can certainly make it happen. And as you guys are aware, we are trying to reach this whole Threadripper build. We're in it for like a little bit over $200. We're like closer to the $220 mark. Hopefully we can make it happen, and we will push for it. I will try to put in as much as I can myself, see if we can make it happen. So, brother, you can budget modest, especially when it comes for the a 20 series Asus Anniversary Edition, as you guys know how expensive that card is. Always good to have emergency spare parts. Absolutely. I don't even have a driver. Yes. Yes. It's almost like, it's almost like those cars where you end up purchasing and you find out they don't have a spare tire. Instead, you just get the inflator. Um, unfortunately, that's an unfortunate case when it comes to reality. They'll sell you what you need and sell you something a little fluff to it, but nothing truly meaningful like thermal paste. Imagine if you do a fix or flop video. Yeah, that would be pretty funny. Just don't say it loud. You save nothing by not having a car. So, going down to the 5080s here. Now we go to BNYs. 1300 for their slim version, and then they also have their higher tier, which is the Epic X, which is $1,300. MSI does feature their Inspire card, a really nice card, almost like equivalent to like a ProArt, which is $1,430. I really like their other card. It's a shame they don't sell it anymore. I kind of wish I went and bought that card too, but they unfortunately don't have it. I believe Ernesto has that card too, if I'm not mistaken. You do have that one other Inspire card, which is pretty dope. It's a very unique card. But they also had the RTX 5080 Shadow. Yeah, I agree. I remember. See, I remember. MSI NVIDIA's GeForce RTX 5080 Shadow. It only cost me $3, and that's actually really good. RTX 5080 Shadow is $1,550. Now let that sink. You're on the cusp of reaching that 5090 level. 5090 is $2,000. You're on the cusp. Only $500 more, actually $450 more. You can get your hands on a Founders Edition 5090. The Asus NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5080 Prime, $1,600. Now, again, as I mentioned, the Prime is like their first tier, their entry level card that you get from Asus. So that just gives you an idea just how much the cost has truly dramatically gone up. Now they then push the Prime level as high as some other cards. Luckily, it only went up $100, but that does not speak volumes, especially when you continue down on this list. The MSI NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5080, the gaming trio, excellent card. Wonderful card. One of my recommended cards, very low coil wine, $1,650. Still really expensive. Again, so you save $50 if you get a PSU with this card. Now, I heard prices on motherboards prices are increasing in Q3 2026 because of commodity prices. Interesting. I haven't heard that just quite yet, but if it does happen, I will certainly let you guys know. It was rumored a while ago that something like this was going to happen, and that's specifically based on things like copper and things like gold or silver. So, and that is obviously used when it comes to electronic components. But again, hopefully it does not. I believe that these GPUs and same when it comes to RAM, SSDs are pretty much offsetting the motherboards. Hence why they can do such great deals when it comes to the kits. So Steven says he loves his ProArt, and that is what his 4070 Ti is. That's pretty awesome. ProArts are really nice cards. Now, Gigabyte's NVIDIA RTX 5080 Gaming, again, a decent card to have. This is one of more of their overclock cards. Again, $1,700. Again, closer to the precipice of getting to a 5090 level. Now you have the GeForce RTX 5080 Prime popping up once again. Then you have the RTX 5080 Prime Evo, which is a more higher tier. Kind of weird how they have that in the mix. But luckily, it seems that, when it comes to certain stocks, volatility can be very high, right? Like, for example, if you guys are familiar, like for options, for example, if you're familiar with contract options, it's almost like, this is how I can compare it. When it comes to contract options, if the volatility is high, then it will be expensive, correct? So the same when it comes to the RTX 5080 Prime. Just say that's the contract. Now, when it gets hit suddenly with unexpected volatility, then it's priced nearly the same as some other options. If you get my drift. So what I'm trying to say here is that because they got hit with this volatility all of a sudden, when it comes to an ASUS NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5080 Prime, and when it comes to the Prime Evo overclock, because they got hit hard with that volatility all of a sudden, they just did not know how to correctly price the Evo overclock. So technically, this should be priced a bit more. And I wouldn't be surprised if they pushed it up to $1,700. So again, this is what has happened in this exact scenario. So going down here, the Arrow short form factor is now $1,750. The RTX 5080 Tough Gaming, again, now remember, that's the second tier up, and now is $1,900. Now you're pretty much close, and pretty much neck and neck with a 5090. Pretty damn close to it. And same thing with the RTX 5080 Noctua Edition, aged really well. I would 100% go for the Noctua Edition over the Tough. The 5080 Pro Art is actually a nice card to get. They do have the expandable ME, the expandable M.2 that you can put into these GPUs. Let me see if they actually show it. Where they ended up, I don't know if it was an earlier concept, but they were discussing about having it in there. And let me see. And wow, I guess it is no longer in there. Oh, a Pro Art build would be wonderful. Now, this is where it's absolutely insane and ridiculous and not worth the price. You have the ROG Astral at $2,099, and along with the white version of which is at $2,149. Two very expensive cards, which should be both equivalents to the RTX 5090. And of course, we have to touch into the 5090. The 5090, again, a card that makes absolutely no sense for most people out there. Now, some of the pricing has held. The cheapest you can get a RTX 5090 is $4,000, and that's the Gaming Overclock Edition. The Zotac RTX 5090 Solid Overclocked Edition is $4,200. You can get the RTX 5090 Ventus, which is pretty much like MSI's base, $4,300. Now the ASUS Tough Gaming, which is their second tier, they don't even have the Prime anymore, which is a surprise. So the ASUS GeForce RTX 5090 Tough is rated at $4,400. And then you go into the Zotac, this is more of their higher brand one, which is their Amp Extreme at $4,400. Maybe when Nova Lake comes with, I will do a Pro Art build. And wouldn't it be, I love that people are interested in doing a Pro Art build. I think it's the way, especially how sleek you could truly make it look. I think most people are looking to have more of a blacked out PC than actually like a full out RGB lit PC. MSI Gaming Trio, as I mentioned, wonderful card, $4,400. The ASUS NVIDIA RTX Pro Art is now $4,500. Now, of course, from here, it gets a bit more expensive. As you guys know, Horus Master is the top of the line when it comes to Gigabyte, which is $4,500. Of course, it's slightly under. This is more of a flagship card than compared to like the Infinity, which is going to be Gigabyte's 40th year anniversary edition, which is again very expensive. I'm sure nobody actually bought it. $4,300. I actually have one in stock. And they do have one RTX 5090 in stock, which is BTF, which is $4,400. So again, it's almost like it absolutely. I agree with you, Dark Style. It's almost like you can't believe your eyes when you see this. Yeah, the gold and black extensions. That's what's really nice. I remember holding this card. I never got to use the card, but I think it's a really awesome card that they do have. But the problem is the cost. I'm just curious, is anybody actually willing to purchase a GeForce RTX 5090 for $4,500? Because I'm just really curious if there's people out there willing to spend the extra money for a Pro Art edition. Um, um, Even if I have a 5090, I almost never recommend it to build a PC. Yeah, I agree. Even though people think it is a marvelous card, but most people are not going to truly utilize the true potential of a RTX 5090. Of course, there's a ton of great usage that can be made out of it, but it just doesn't make any sense. It's really overkill for a lot of PCs. And when people game with actually like a 5070 Ti or RX 9070 XT, which I'm going to show you guys, the prices also went up when it came to the when it came to them, when it came to the RX 9070 XTs. That's even though their prices went up, it's still a much better value, and much more price to performance for their cards. I mean, if you take a look at, say, the 9070 XT, yes, it's gone up in pricing, even up to $800. But to be fair, an ASRock for $770 compared to a RTX 5070 Ti, where the cheapest one you can find is roughly about maybe $1,100, you're paying half the price. You can buy a nice new display with your with this GPU. So a Pro Art 5080 though makes sense, or a 5070 Ti. I agree. I agree. And I feel like the 5090 is definitely more for those who are into 3D rendering. I think it's great for those type of users. Those that are into Blender, those that are looking a bit more for flexibility. I think that is a great option for you guys. Uh, this is actually a great deal. The Sapphire Technology RX 9070 XT. They actually have one open box for 675. That's actually a really decent card too. Actually, here it is. They actually have it looked at really great quality. I know the biggest complaint when it comes to Sapphire is more the coil whine, but this is actually a decent deal. G7, that's why the higher bandwidth memory, agreed. Pro Art 5080, but above 1500 is a little bit insane as well. I bricked, what did you bricked a 5090 Astral? Oh, how did you brick it? Were you running a test? Were you running that new test on it? Because that new test has been really stressful, even on the 5090s. I don't know if you saw that yet or not, but there's a new benchmark that even stresses the best 5090 out there. So if you're looking for a decent GPU, I highly recommend taking a look at RX 9070 XTs. Definitely the best bargain. Again, if you're in Miami or you're in Florida overall, and you have a Best Buy, just say, remember you have the back to school tech deals where they don't charge tax as of until I think it's 20th of August or into September. So take advantage of those deals if you can. You know what I was really tempted to look at? I don't know if they have it or not. The 5K monitors, man. I wanted a white Astral 5080, but now it's priced out of market. Ah, dropped in PC. Oh no, that sucks. That's rough. I would hate that. Uh, hopefully you can get it fixed. Let me see. I don't think they have it. They do have it. The 15. This is it. The GX9. But they have a 45-inch one too. Oh, and they have a wow. They have a 51-inch. That's insane. But that's so much. That's too much real estate. I feel like when it comes to a screen, that's insane. I can't believe it's cheaper. Take a look at that. I would much rather get something like this than a that's practically a straight up monitor there. Funny thing is, I hunted for a 5080 Founders Edition. It was more, yeah, it is. I never had luck with Founders Editions. I had one time where I was offered the 5090 by NVIDIA, but instead I chose not to get it, and that was probably definitely one of the cards I regret not getting. Yeah, they did. They recently released, I'd say like they started releasing about this year, like roughly this year, a little bit late last year. But now, yeah, they finally got 5K available if you're looking for a 5K display. But yeah, it's pretty dope, right? Funny thing, but I applied for the FE from and I heard back from them and they actually got me back with the 5090. I'm such an idiot for not getting it too. But fam guys, I certainly appreciate everyone that has joined into the wonderful live. Hopefully you enjoyed this chat. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure you don't forget to subscribe. I'm good with 5K on it. Yeah, me too. That would be wonderful. What's up, Meg? Root beer float time. Yes. Oh, okay. Now you're just throwing it at my face. 5090 FEs are more expensive. I know. That's insane. So fam guys, I certainly do appreciate that everyone that has been part of the chat. I've been doing all right. I've been doing okay. Just actually about to go off of live. Thank you for stopping in as always. Oh, damn, you came in late. You came in late, Ricky. I just was talking about you. Yeah, have a wonderful evening, everybody. Thank you for everyone for joining into this live. I certainly appreciate you guys. Ram. That's right. I'm not. Hey, I get it. You're making me hungry, though. I'm not going to lie. I'm definitely hungry now. Now, stream. Oh, okay. Yeah, I will. I should stream Battlefield 6, right? Have a wonderful night, everyone. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. I thank even the last minute guys. Ricky for coming in. Destiny. I got to thank Meg for stopping in. Mr. K. I got to thank Igor. Of course, I got to thank Hidden Bull. Steve for coming in as well. T Done Ground Game. Ernesto. I got to thank Mr. Barkinson. Thank you, Brock, for stopping in. I thank T Done. I got to thank Wasabi over there. Wonderful Ernesto. And of course, Waffle Skater. Thank you guys and have a wonderful night. And we will talk this upcoming Saturday.